All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to Preface Nomad Junior. So today we're going to do an App Inventor live on learning how to create your own sign up account. So I'm just going to share to you guys my screen first. Awesome. And in the meantime, I'm actually going to connect to Emulator 2 so you can see the results of what's happening as we go along and do our project. All right, everyone good? Okay. So let's just wait for Emulator to load for a while. And in the meantime, hope you guys are staying healthy and staying safe. And make sure you guys remember to keep learning to code, keep learning, keep going onto our YouTube channel and finding out more about different App Inventor interfaces, different apps, and what to do with them. All right. So just going to wait for it to load for a second. We'll begin very shortly. All right. So let's see, we have so right now we have our whole designer interface, which is around 90% done right now. So what we want to do right now is we want to make sure that we can complete the whole designer. So today, remember, we're doing a sign up account, right? Now, so as you can see within the designer, everything is 90% done. We have our hide and show in the media. We have these components which are used to build this screen right here. Now, for you guys, if you guys haven't done it yet, you can pause the video later onwards and you can try and make the whole designer yourself. And otherwise, feel free to get it from ask us for this copy, and then we can get it, and then you can get this whole thing set up, and then you can do it yourself too. But in the meantime, you can take a look. So we have some labels up. We have a user title label, and we have the text box for it. We have a password title, which will input a new component you haven't heard of, and also one for confirming your password. All right, let's begin. So to start off with, we want to learn about a new component, okay? So the new component we learn about is something called the password text box. So what does a password text box do? Essentially, it works exactly the same as like a normal text box. Hold up, I have a lot of components selected now. I'm just going to refresh it. This happens with the new App Inventor, don't worry about it. All right, so I have my password ready. And so what's different with a password text box? Let's just rename it as PWTB. The difference between a password text box and a normal text box is that it shows up as little stars over here. So whatever you type in, it becomes little stars, and you can make it show the text or hide the text in the blocks later, which I will go through in a bit. So for now, we have our password text box, and we also need one more to confirm our title. We need to confirm the password, and to make sure that this text box is the exact same as the second one over here. So this one, we can call this confirm PWTB for password text box. All right. And so when do we use this? Why do we need a sign up? Why do we need a sign up page? So for you guys to think about, it's an other layer that you can put into your app. For example, this is on the screen that you can add. So apart from adding security to your whole app, you can also start saving different usernames and different passwords so that different people can access your app, and you can link that with a tiny WebDB in order for a whole storage of usernames and passwords to be stored. So different people can use your app differently, so which means that each person's application is personalized to themselves, and this also adds a layer of security for them. All right. So this might be a reason of why you want to make a sign up page. Okay, so far we're done with most of the designer. Then the only thing left is I'm going to make an additional format. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is that I want you guys to make one more horizontal arrangement, and I'm going to place it next to the password. Now I'm going to put my password in over here. Oops, let's try it again. And I'm also going to add one more image inside this text box here, inside this horizontal arrangement. Now this image, I'm just gonna call it, sorry, actually not an image, it's actually a button. So I'm going to add a button here. And I'm going to call this the show hide button, all right? Like this. So what does this button do? This button actually, let's just remove the text and let's change the height to 50 pixels by 50 pixels. So I'm not sure if you've seen what a sign up page looks like, but normally there's also a button here, so which allows you to show your password to make sure that you typed it correctly, right? So over here, we're going to, since we've uploaded the two images, hide and show, what we can do is that we can upload them as an image. And over here, let's just use the hide button for now. So now you can see an eye basically. Now, after you press it, supposedly, it will become the show one. And then from then on, you can learn, from then on, you can edit your password and you can see what you actually type. Because normally if you type in this yourself, it would be, it would just be, you won't see anything but stars. So to test this out, you can see it right now. So when I type in my password, you can see it instantly turns to stars right now. And I believe later on afterwards, the emulator will also show, it will also show the updated version, which you can see the eye, all right? So without further ado, let's begin. And so right now, this is your completed version of your designer, right? So right now we're going to do the following codes in order to make your sign up account, to make this whole page, whole signing up for an account page work, all right? So remember, if you have any questions, feel free to comment on our Facebook. And remember, we'll also give you guys flashcards all. So you guys can feel free to put them in to get the flashcards you want, and make sure you comment to let us know, and then we'll send it to you accordingly, all right? So right now everything is good. Remember, so for those guys who are making designer yourself, make sure you get the notifier in. So it's not visible right now, but it's a very important component for what you'll be doing next. Okay? So far so good. All right, so let's head into our blocks right now. Let's see our page. So to begin with for the blocks, all right, so the first one I do is that, remember, I have a sign up button in my designer. So this is normally, so after when you complete all of the signing up, what's supposed to happen is that you're supposed to click it and it's going to help you create a new account. But only, first of all, if your password and your confirm password text box, if the text is inside are exactly the same, only then will you be able to make a new account. Now, in that sense, what we're going to do over here is that we're going to get a when sign up button, click. And for here, because you're going to figure out the different conditions, because right now we need to make sure whether we can sign up or not. So remember, the way to see whether or not you can sign up, firstly, is that all of the username, password, and the confirm password parts. So whether that is the text box, the password text box over here, or down here, you have to make sure that you have to make sure that they're all filled in first. And then secondly, you make sure that the password and the confirm password parts are both the same. So what you see here is that you see two different conditions, right? So if you've been catching up on our YouTube videos, you should know that this is somewhat of something called a nested condition. We're making sure that there are two conditions which may need to happen at the same time, or if one relates to the other. So the first thing we need to make sure is that all three of these text boxes are filled in at the beginning. Therefore, after dragging out the sign up button, we need to get an if then else block out first. All right, I'll just make it a bit bigger for you guys to see. Okay, so far so good. If you guys have any comments with viewing it, let us know. But right now it should be big enough for you guys to completely see. So we have the if then else button. We have the if then else block over here. And the next thing you want to do is you want to grab an and block, because we want to make sure that there are 3 separate text boxes that are completely filled and not empty. So you're going to grab an and block over here. You know what? Let's make it 2 and blocks. And for those of you guys that have been with App Inventor for a while now, you will know that when we right click it, we can make external input. So what this does is that this makes the blocks, basically they work the same. It's just that like this, for me, it's easier for me to see the different conditions compared to if it's very long and it's hard to see. So you can imagine that if we have a lot of blocks inside here, so once this is put together, we may not be able to see the third thing inside the and box over here compared to the first one. So when we external input the whole thing, it will make all the conditions clearer. So over here, the conditions, remember, we're checking on whether to make sure that whether the username text box, the password text box, and the confirm password text boxes they have to be all completely filled and not empty. So what we're checking here is that we have to go to logic. Let's grab a not block first. And we have to make sure that our username text box text is not empty, right? So over here, we're going to grab 3 separate blocks, not the username text box text, then also over here in the text part, in the text component, we have to find is empty. So this grammatically might sound a bit wrong, but basically it's just saying that if the username text box text is not empty, all right? And we practically do the same thing for the password text box text, okay? So to make sure that they're all not empty, so I can just duplicate this part, but I take away the username text box text, and I connect this with the password text box text. Okay. So that's a second part, and then we also duplicate a third part out, and this is for the confirm password text box text. So by doing this, we have a condition where we ensure that all 3 of these text boxes, whether they're password text box or username or normal text box, we confirm that none of them are empty, all right? So far so good. And now we're going to continue. So actually, let's work on the else condition first. So else means that this condition is false, right? So this means that since the condition here is that all of the text boxes are not empty, if it's else, that means that at least 1 text box is empty, right? So here we call a notifier out. And in the notifier, we're going to show a message dialog. And the message dialog will say, you need to tell the user that they haven't completed the text box. So therefore, it needs to say, please fill in all text boxes. All right. And the next thing, so you're just gonna make a title here, which might say sign up failed, for example. And the button text is probably something that just says okay. Right? So let's try and see if let's try and see if it works on our emulator here. So right now the emulator is still not showing, that's all right. We're just going to reconnect it. So just to recap on what we've done so far, first off, we made sure that we make sure that all the text box texts are not empty when we first make the sign up. And if it is empty, we make sure that we're telling the people to fill in all the text boxes to begin with first. And for you guys, you can feel free to customize it. You can call this blank if you want also. just works either way too. Okay. So we can test it out a bit later when almost in around 2 seconds. Okay, so let's try it. So right now this button doesn't work yet, but we can try just, for example, I'm just gonna make a name, a Mark teacher, and then I'm just gonna make a random password here. I'm going to make sure that I leave my confirm your password part empty. So when I press sign up, it will tell me to please fill in all text boxes. Okay, so the first part works completely fine. We have to keep moving on and let's see what happens in the second parts. So remember in the second condition, what we're doing is that we're checking whether this password text box here and the confirm password text boxes have the exact same text. Because for example, if over here, if I typed in here, I'll type it slowly. If I make my password Mark over here, but I make my password in the confirm text box parts teacher, they'll be different. And in that case, my confirmation of password is completely wrong, right? Which is why we should have failed to make the sign up. So this is the condition that we'll need to make. Once again, grab another if then else from the control blocks. And over here, we need to set a new condition. This time we're comparing between the password text box text and also the confirm password text, right? So over here, what we need to do is to grab a logic equal, because remember, we're comparing the text, we're not comparing numbers. So we're using the logic equal and not the math equal. And what we need to do here is that we need to make sure that our password text box text and the confirm password text box text are exactly alike. So we have to make sure that they're the same. Okay? So now we need to figure out what should happen if these two are same or not the same. So let's start off by working in the else, okay? Because it's relatively easier. So if the password here, sorry, just a bit like this, okay. If the password text box text and the password text box is not the same, so if the password text box text and the confirm password text box text is not the same, we need to once again call a notifier in which we need to show that they're different and that we need to make sure that it's confirmed to be the same. So over here, we need to make a little message maybe. We have to say, your passwords are different. Make sure they're the same, or a very similar message. All right, so I'm just running out of text over here, but just keep in line with this. Make sure they are the same. So something like this, or very similar message. And then here in the title, we can say passwords not the same, or once again, a very similar title, and the button text, we can rename it to be okay. So let's try and test it out right now. Let's try and test it out on, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit so you can see the whole block a bit clearer. And let's try to see this on our emulator, okay? So right now I have the username. My password is Mark, but my confirm password here, maybe I'm just going to say teacher, okay? And let's see what happens. So when I press sign up, it says, see, over here it says password not the same. So we have to make sure that they're different. So you see in the second part, the else part, it works too. So let's work on a final condition here. Now, this is when the whole sign up is completely correct, right? So over here, we can call the notifier to say, you know, welcome to our platform. And then over here, you can say things like sign up complete. So now, just purely by using notifier, you're able to make a whole sign up account page over here. Now, obviously, when you're working with this into another app, you also have to make sure that you're going to make it go to the next page. And also you have to make sure that you're going to save the username and the password also, right? But over here, since we're only doing a demonstration of how to do the sign up account, just make sure that everything, just make sure we're just going to just stop at this part here. But remember, if you're going to work on a different, if you're trying to put a sign up account into your own application, make sure you remember to put a tiny WebDB inside, or make sure that you're trying to get it into the next page, right? Okay, so far so good. Just some extra things that we need to do. It is that first of all, we have to make sure that after signing up, we have to empty out the username text boxes as well as the password text boxes. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to set the username text box text. I'm going to set it to be empty. And then next up, I'm going to do the same for the password text box text. All right. And I'm to set this to an empty text also. And finally, I'm going to set it to be the confirm password text box text. So to make sure that all three of them are going to be completely empty when I'm finished. All right, so far so good. Let's just try and, let's try and work it out on the app and see what happens. So once again, my username, Mark Teacher, and this time, so remember the password over here, I typed in Mark, and over here, my confirm password, I'm going to try to type in Mark. So once I signed up, say sign up complete, welcome to our platform. And also you can see after press OK, you can see that the username, password, and confirm password parts are exactly emptied out. So we have no more text in there. So you can feel free to make a different account, right? Let's see. So one of the final things that we need to do is that we need to make sure that once we typed in the password, we're also able to make it show, okay? So for example, over here, if I typed in a password, I typed in Mark, and I'm not sure if I actually made a typo or not. Supposedly, if I press this I over here, I can be able to see whether my password is, I have to be able to see whether my password is alike, all right? So what I have to do here is this. So when I first touch down on this, supposedly, so how the whole thing works is that when I touch down on this, I will be able to see my password, but when I touch up on it, it won't show anymore. So this also enhances the security, right? Just in case we forget to, hide our password. So over here in the show hide button, we need to make a few things. The first thing is that when the show hide button is touched down, I want to set this show hide button image to make it viewable, right? So over here, it's going to show me that I can view it now. Therefore, my image is going to be the show PNG. So the show PNG, for those of you guys, so you can see it later, but basically it's this I without the slash. All right. And the next thing we do is that we set the password text box visible. So we set its visibility, we set it to true. So not just visible, the password visible. So this is an extra property inside the password text box because it makes us see whether we can see the password or not. And in this case, since we're touching down and the image is and the image tells that the password is showing, therefore we're going to set it to be true. All right. So in that way now, if we go back to our app, let's test it out. So if over here, I type in a password like, Miss Ellen or something. And then I'm just going to type, and it's going to click on the I. Now I can see the password. And once I let go, supposedly, it's not going to show anymore. So we haven't done that part yet. So we need to complete it too. So I'm just going to duplicate this part over here. And instead of making it touch down, I'm going to go to my show hide button, and I'm going to make it touch up instead. And I want to drag the rest of these blocks inside this show hide button touch up, delete the extra event handler. I'm just going to drag it down here. Now, when I touch up, supposedly I want to hide this password again. That's where the password visible becomes false. And also my image here, I need to change it to hide PNG. All right, let's see it. So right now, I touch down, I see Miss Ellen. I touch up, I see just the the stars. So over here, I was making a username and a password for my teacher, Miss Ellen. What I would do is that my username here would be, Miss Ellen, and then the password here might be I am 18, and we need to make sure here. So remember the I works completely fine. And then over here, we need to confirm the password. So remember, if I type it wrong, so if I type something like I'm 18 without the A, right? What will happen is that once I press sign up, it will tell me. So once I press sign up, it will tell me that my passwords are not the same. And in the same way, when I type in, so if I leave it empty also, and I press sign up, it will tell me that sign up failed because I need to fill in all the text boxes. But if I get it correct, if I type in I am 18, and then I press sign up here, it will say sign up complete and welcome to our platform. So that is our sign up page done right now. And for those of you guys that are looking to take this app a bit further, okay? So once what we can do over here is within the designer, we can set a few more things. So first of all, in the password over here, you can see that the text boxes are a bit different. You can add a hint. Over here, I can type in a hint that says type password here. And then in the confirm password text box, I can type something like, confirm password. So this makes the whole app a bit more complete, a bit more whole. And for those of you guys that are looking to take this, actually use this page, first of all, remember the sign up page might be one of the screens inside. So later on when you make the app, just make sure that after pressing the sign in button, you make an add screen and you can make your own sign up page over here. Remember that the pages have to link up. So make sure that you make the according codes for this. And so the whole app is complete for now. And just make sure you just check your codes and make sure every time you finish your codes, make sure you give it a try on the emulator or on the App Inventor AI2 companion to make sure that everything works completely fine. Okay. So if you have any questions about the app that you want to ask, or once again, if you're looking to create this app yourself, and you want our own designer, so you want this whole complete designer, which I'm not sure if you want because it's actually quite a simple one, which you guys should be able to make yourself. But in any case, make sure you let us know. And so you can email us or you can type in the comments if you want it. And that's all for today. So thank you for tuning in once again. I hope this live session helped you guys to learn how to make your own account. And once again, this is Preface Nomad Junior live session. I'm Teacher Mark. Everyone stay healthy and stay safe. Thank you.
That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.